as we enter into a new era of leadership, empowerment, and influence. In this season 2 of Transcend with M, we want to highlight the power that lies underneath us, underneath you. On this new season, we will showcase true stories about women who, one way or another, are exercising influence by tapping on their strength and their own story. I hope, just like me, that you let all these women and their stories empower you today and shape your tomorrow, just like they have helped me. So welcome to Season 2 of Transcend with M. Know her story. Welcome everyone to another episode of Transcend with M on Season 2, Know Her Story. And today, we're going to start over because I didn't ask how you pronounce your last name because I am awful at this.
It's okay. Kooistra.
Kooistra.
Yeah, like think koi fish. Kooistra.
Kooistra. Where is that from?
It's Dutch.
Dutch.
It is my maiden name. I kept it because it's super.
Okay. That's very nice. So
my husband's isn't any better.
So Lindsay or Lindsay?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Sometimes people pronounce it differently. And first of all, I'm Puerto Rican. I have an accent. I speak 3 languages, and I'm in New England. So it's like because you're in Boston, you like drag the A's. And like because my first language is Spanish, I definitely have an accent with the Y's, with the J's, with the I's. So it's just like a whole, different pronunciation. So Lyndsay Kooistra. Is that right?
You got it.
Okay, perfect. So let's just start this again. No problem. This is the beauty of this. We can just restart anytime we want. But it won't happen again. So
we're not live.
Yeah. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Transcend with M. Season 2, Know Her Story. And today we have with us Lyndsay Kooistra. And Lyndsay is committed to the insurance industry. She's a pal. She is a dynamic woman and currently residing in Oregon. Is that right, Lyndsay?
Yes.
And you work at Laporte Insurance. Is that correct?
Laporte, yes. Laporte Insurance.
All right. And you are the president-elect of the Big I for next year.
Yes.
What an accomplishment.
Thank you. Yes. So, president-elect right now. It's feeling good.
Yeah. So Lyndsay and I, just so you all know, we are knowing each other just for a few months now because we decided to join it's called Mind Woman Network, and it's led by Sarah. And what an amazing group, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah.
It's amazing. And I feel that, you bring such extreme energy and passion to what you do, from a marketing and business development perspective, that I know this is going to be a great conversation.
Oh, thank you.
Tell all of us, who is Lyndsay? What is your becoming story? What do you have to tell us about who you are, where you come from, etc.?
Yeah. So I live in Portland, Oregon. I grew up in the Midwest, primarily Iowa. Spent a little bit of time in college in Washington, D.C. and London, and came back to Iowa and was like, all right, what's next, right? And my husband and I had met in college. He came out here to Portland to go to Lewis and Clark for graduate school. And I interviewed with Allied Insurance back in Des Moines and said, hey, I want to live in Portland, Oregon. And they said, okay. So that's what brought us out here, or me, back in 2002. So been here since. I started in claims, which is a great way to learn insurance and be able to read policies. I did everything from auto claims and then primarily did property, commercial and farm, personal claims, right? For property, excuse me. And then at 24, this sales director was like, hey, I think you'd be good at sales. You should apply. And I did, and I got the job. I went into my first sales meeting without even a pen and paper with the agency. And like had to borrow a piece of paper and the agent to write some notes down, just laughing on the way out. So, started in sales with very humbling experience and realized I had a lot to learn. But did that for Allied, CNA, and AmTrust as sales and marketing manager for all of those companies. Learned a ton about personal insurance, as well as most of my time was spent in commercial. And so I really enjoyed that. Had my son when I was traveling at about like 2-3 weeks a month, and it took us a little while to have him. And had been traveling for 10 years and just decided, you know what, I've got all this experience in insurance. Let's see what I can do as an agent. Worst case scenario, I fail miserably, and a carrier says, okay, you've got cool new experience. We'll take you. So because I had been in the sales and marketing position, I really knew a lot of agents in Oregon and had narrowed down, probably like a list of 5 or 10 agencies that I would really want to work for. I put together a list of what I wanted, what I didn't want, and what I really, really wanted. And I still have the list. And one of the things I really wanted was I wanted to have the ability to be an owner of the agency at some point once I earned that, right? And I also really wanted to be able to do my own thing. I felt like with a lot of agencies, you get kind of siloed, like you're just the work comp producer, or you just do personal, or you just do this. And I wanted to do everything. So
you want it to be a hybrid of things. That's a good way to keep it seasoned and not get bored, right?
Yes, absolutely. I joke, I've taken so many personality tests over the years because I'm in sales. But like one of the tests said, if she's not having fun, she's not going to do that job anymore. And I was like, yeah, that's right. That's right. So Laporte, I kind of gave them my idea of what I wanted, and they said, yeah, let's make this happen. So I started there just a little over 5 years ago. Got pregnant with my daughter, and when I was about like huge and about 8 months pregnant, sat down in the boardroom with the other owners, and they offered me to become a shareholder. So
that's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. So I've been a shareholder not quite 2 years yet because my daughter is almost 2. That's been wonderful. So right now for the agency, I am working with another shareholder handling our carrier relationships. And then I track our production and loss ratios because I'm a big data nerd, and then producing, right? So and a couple other little projects. So that's what I'm doing right now for the agency. I will say I was the first woman producer at the agency, and as well as the first woman and only woman owner too. So
amazing. So let's dissect that for a second.
Okay.
That's what we're here for. So what would you say have been first woman producer on Laporte, first woman shareholder? What wins and what struggles shaped you to have that opportunity? I know that you mentioned that was one of your goals long term. I mean, 5 years is a pretty quick turnaround time. So so what did you struggle with the most, and what were your wins, and how did you get there?
Yeah. So at some point in my career, I think I was at CNA, somebody told me you have to be your own advocate. Like, don't expect anything to just happen. You have to ask, you have to advocate for yourself. I don't know if you have experience working in corporate America, but companies are like, okay, you need to fill out your own performance review. Did you meet, achieve?
Oh yeah, I work at Liberty Mutual for
Yeah,
many years.
yeah. So
So
I
yeah,
was like, of course
totally
I,
understand.
yeah. So I'd always say, of course I exceeded. Let me tell you why, So my 6.5-year-old has a lot of confidence, and we think he got that from me. So
That's a good thing.
but so like you have to advocate for yourself, and you have to tell people what you want, right? Nobody's going to read your mind. And so I was very upfront with, hopefully not coming off as too pushy or too ostentatious, but hey, I want to be a shareholder one day. What does it take to make that happen?
Yep.
And if I know what the process is, and what the expectations are, then I'll meet it. I really feel, and I love our majority shareholder. He's such a kind man, and I enjoy learning from him and talking to him.
Yeah.
I told him at one point, I feel like as a woman, I work twice as hard. And that's okay. It doesn't bother me any. But I'm gonna show my value and
Yeah.
people see it. So
Yeah. So when they ask you to come to the table, right?
Mhm.
Like, how did you feel? What were the emotions? How did they communicated that to you?
I feel bad. I kind of don't remember. Like, I will blame a little bit of pregnancy brain. Then
Yeah.
at the same time, it was just, I was so happy, and
Yeah.
we're offering this. They kind of talked about the process a little bit. Just like, great, okay, let's figure this out. So
Okay, we're here. We're having a
be-
baby. We're doing this. We're producing. We're doing everything at the same time.
yeah. So they offered it to me in November. In December, I went into labor at the office.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did. And my account manager, bless her heart, drove me to the hospital. So
Oh my
he
goodness.
held my hand while I got my epidural too. So it's great.
Well,
We're bonded for life.
there is no more. I don't think I've ever heard a story like this, but honestly, like, I don't see a better way of bonding for like a very long-term relationship, because
Right?
you really show your true colors when you're going through that.
They were screaming. I'm not gonna lie. Oh my goodness. But anyway, so the shareholder, could be either they offered me January 1 or July 1, and I ended up moving it to July.
July, yeah.
Because there's financing involved, right? And so in terms of, or financials, right? I had to write a check. And so I had to figure all that out. And with having a brand new baby, it was totally my decision. I just needed to like get everything in order and stuff. So yeah.
Of course. And I mean, honestly, like, it's better when you can take the time. Like, maybe if you had just doing it too quickly, it might have not benefited you the way that maybe you wanted to at the long term. So it's always good to take that time. So tell me a little bit, you talk to me about your goals. We talk about, how you are achieving those goals. But it's kind of like I consider this sometimes a very open-ended question, because I feel we never end up growing up. But what do you want to be when you grow up?
Okay, so I had many things that I wanted to be. I was interesting little girl. I didn't play house. I played office.
Okay.
And my little sister was my secretary. And I would order her around. It was great. I wanted to be an attorney for a really long time. I actually took the LSAT. I wanted to do international business for a bit, and I realized I do not have your skill of language. I can barely speak English, and
Fine. I think you're doing pretty well for yourself, but that's okay.
I liked law a lot because I do like contracts and I don't know what's wrong with me, but I do. And, but insurance just kind of ended up being a great spot for me. My degree is in theater and communication. And I've loved theater my whole life. I would have loved to have been on stage or, something like that. But I know this sounds kind of terrible to say. I realized I was good, but I wasn't great. Right. And so, kind of having a good understanding of what your abilities are. I can sing, but it's not the best. Like, let's figure out what I'm good at. And honestly, sales was a great place for me, because I get to kind of use my communication and my the theatrical skills, if you will, to communicate and work with clients. So,
I mean, it's a really good skill to have, because you have to adjust differently to every situation that comes at you every single second. So It's like you can be thinking about doing this, but you quickly have to shift into other, even, tweak your personality sometimes to kind of fit the way that it needs to fit in order to win that business. So not really giving up who you are, but you really need to have that skill. So, with that, you just mentioned that you play office with your sister. What elements of your childhood like influence who you are today? Who played a role model for you?
Well, my parents did, of course. My mom was a teacher. She's retired now, and she's actually on FaceTime with my son since COVID hit, and it's her birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
She seriously almost every day FaceTimed with my son, because he's home doing distance learning. So that's been wonderful. And she stayed home with my sister and me until I think my sister was in first grade. And then she went back to work. She worked so hard. And she's taught English as well as speech, and then directed theater. And so she worked 24/7, and it was good to see that. I want my kids to see how, you have to work hard. It's really important. And, growing up in Iowa, there is just this, you grow up knowing you got to work hard for what you want. And that, there's some truth to that Midwest ingenuity.
But that's amazing, because all cultures are different. And even you are in the United States, every state, every coast, if you are in the East Coast, is different. If you're in the West Coast, is different. If you're in the middle, it's different. And then you have all these different cultures that surround every single state. And it is very impressive to me. And I always continue to learn, because we have such a versatile and diverse community. And every person I meet, every person I have met through all these years, even though they are American, born and raised in USA, they are different. And they have a different culture. They have a different way of how they grew up. They have a different philosophy of life, and it's just like the next state over, So I think that's something good that we all have when we are sharing and communicating and learning about each other, because everybody thinks that it's the same, and it's not the same. It's not the same. So with that, what role women play in your empowerment day to day? Who empowers you on a day-to-day basis? How do they help you be better on a daily basis?
I have a really good group of girlfriends. some of my girlfriends are in insurance like me. And so, you know, when we're talking about different things, they totally get what I'm going through, right? And I get what they're going through. And I have girlfriends that I've met because of my children, and that are just, you know, great women. And I know that if I've got a question or need something, I can rely on any of them. So my girlfriends are huge influences for me right now. And then I know other women in the insurance industry, right? And I'm getting to know this group that Sarah has put together. And I know that, you know, for years to come, I'm hoping that we build some friendships that will all be able to help each other throughout the years. So
Definitely. So, you know, as a woman on the insurance industry, what would you say are the biggest challenges that we face?
I think sometimes credibility or knowledge. I do have to say I have a client who I absolutely love. And when I first met with them, they said, well, I didn't think you'd be so young. And I said, well, how old do you think I am? They said 28. And I was getting close to 39 at that point. And I'm like, thanks, you're my new favorite. um, I also, I don't know.
Hey, that was a great compliment.
It was.
Gotta give it to them.
I will never forget that. No, they're still like, they're right up there for me. I think sometimes it's that knowledge, right? And just, I feel sometimes like I have to prove myself a little bit extra as a woman. And again, I don't mind. I remember doing an audit when I was at CNA, and I can't even remember what it was for, but the person that was auditing me told me, like, never be afraid to prove yourself, because you can and you're good at it. So just do it, and don't feel like it's a negative. And so ever since then, I've been, yeah, that's fine. I'll prove myself, and no problem with that. What else? I'm trying to think how else to answer that. But I think sometimes as a woman, we do have an advantage. I like to think that I'm a good listener, even though I haven't been listening that much. I've been talking during this, but
this is about you, so you're good.
You know, it's not all. I call it waiting to talk. You know, you're in a conversation with somebody, and I can see people just like they just want to talk, and I feel like as women, we're pretty good at sitting back, listening, you know, what maybe that next question is, rather than something out.
I do agree with that. And I have to say that I am glad that you mentioned that it is an advantage, because, I mean, granted, like, you know, through this and through all the interviews that I've been doing, I really focus on like the struggles and like the successes, because there is no growth without pain. I am a true believer of that. But I also, you know, my goal is to showcase that no matter what you're going through, you are going to be able to surpass it, and you're going to be able to shine, and you're going to be able to just succeed, because we all have gone through it. And I think it's something I've learned from, you know, getting to know you guys, you know, being on my women network, being, you know, on the new position I'm at. There is power to be who we to just be who we are. And even though, yes, we do have disadvantages still from like a salary perspective, or from a, you know, from a bunch of different points of views, we still have the power, because we can definitely, you know, sit back, listen, problem solve, and bring solutions to the table that most people don't have. And I think that's so extremely important. So what would you, if you have the power to change something for us women on our industry, on the insurance industry, what would it be?
Probably more leadership roles for women, both on the insurance carrier side and the insurance agency side. I think that we've got a generation that I assume you and I are a part of together, that where we have more women that are coming up. Like my mom, she will be mad at me for telling her age, but she's 69. And she told me, you know, when she went to college, she was told she could be a nurse or a teacher. And she didn't like blood, so she became a teacher. And that group of women are getting ready to retire. And they've paved the pathway for the women of our generation and younger and older to come into insurance and go into leadership roles and work hard for those. And I'd love to see more of that for both carriers and agencies, because we've got something to bring to the table.
I agree 100%. I just a quick story. Last year I won the 2019 Young Agent of the Year here in Massachusetts. Yay! And I didn't know what to expect, because I was like, I don't know, they caught me by surprise. They didn't tell me until the day before that I needed to go into this like state meeting. And I was like, what is a town hall meeting? I don't even know what that means. Like it sounded so old to me. It's like, whatever. But when I walked into that room, there was, give it a take, probably 100 people. And from that 100 people, there were 5 women.
Wow.
Me, 2 of my coworkers. It was Kate and was Kate. Yeah. And who else was there? Oh, and then it was Cassandra Cagle, we spoke about earlier. And then Cassandra's mom, because Cassandra's dad was the chair. So Cassandra's mom was there. And then another wife of one of the board members, one of the chairs. And I was so intimidated. I was like, how in the world a person like me, it's gonna move around this group? How am I gonna work this room? And I was sad at the same time, because I didn't see more representation of us. But at the same time, I think, and that's why I'm taking this so personal, to bring this podcast out there and to bring these stories out there, because we need to take ownership. We need to represent. We need to, strive for those positions. We need to strive for that presence out there. Because like, I was happy and I was sad at the same time. But that showed me that there is more commitment to be made. And I totally agree with you that we really need to go and grab it and run with it. So I am glad that you mentioned that we need more representation and more opportunity on those leadership, roles. So I know we're like coming out to time. So can you tell me, one last question, how have you been able to transcend with your life goals and focus, and guide yourself to stay positive and to succeed into what you wanted to become?
I'm naturally a positive person. I've had some really hard days during this pandemic. I will not say that I haven't. but I really, I try to get up every day, like just being excited about the day, looking forward to the day. I've got a wonderful husband and 2 kids that keep me grounded. I and then of course my girlfriends and my friends that that are in my life and my family. I do a really bad job of a life-work balance. I probably work more now during the pandemic than I did because I'm not commuting.
Right.
Those
You have
hours
more
to
time
work.
to work.
Yeah. 60-hour work week is really normal for me. And that's something I have to work on. But I love what I do. And that's, with all of those different things that I just listed, I love helping my clients, and I love helping, my colleagues, and whether that's within my agency or within Big I. So it's, that's what it's all about.
That's awesome. What will you tell women that are listening today? What message do you have of empowerment for them?
Give me a call. I will be your personal cheerleader.
I will call you.
Seriously. No, focus on your strengths, and and build on those, and believe in yourself. I know it sounds kind of hokey to say. I remember my son coming back from a little soccer shots practice, and I was like, "What'd you learn today?" He said, "To believe in myself."
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was just the cutest thing this little 3 or 4-year-old said. And I think about that a lot. Like, have confidence in yourself, believe in yourself, and you can do anything.
That's amazing. That's amazing. It is something beautiful to believe in yourself. And I think, there are going to be hard days. There are going to be days that you have to reach out and that you have to call and say, I am not okay. But as far as you identify that you need that help and that you know that you can do it, you just need a little push to do it and you need a little support to do it. I think that's all it matters. So I want to thank you, Lyndsay, so much for being here today. I really appreciate your time, and I am really enjoying getting to know you and collaborating every month, and just, hearing all the different stories and all the different, issues that we go through. And we really are doing a good job kind of empowering each other. And I love that we end up being on the same group.
Yes. Well, thank you. I love that you're doing this podcast. This is my second podcast. I did do one for National Alliance, which was so fun. And now I'm like hooked. I want to do podcasts.
That's amazing. Well, this doesn't have to be the only one. We can definitely do another one. Maybe we can do one with like the hot insurance topics right now in sales. And I know like we can share a lot of ideas and making sure that we are helping other leaders out there within our industry. So with 1 minute that we have left, are you okay to answer 5 quick hitter questions?
Of course. Go.
All right. Awesome. Transcending is?
I have no idea.
How do you transcend? How do you go to the next level?
Positive attitude.
Okay, perfect. That's a good answer. Your favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite music?
Broadway musicals.
Well, with the theater background, I can see that. Yes.
I joke that I need to have more room in my brain for insurance knowledge, but it's still filled up with like lyrics and songs from Broadway musicals, and I can't.
That's amazing. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Poisonwood Bible by Barbara Kingsolver.
Okay, never heard of it. I'm gonna look for it. Favorite woman influencer?
RBG.
Okay.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
It's so sad, her passing, man.
No.
I think, every year I go by and I was like, oh, I wish I could have met that person, or had a conversation with that person. I am so jealous right now of Brené Brown because she just did a podcast with Barack Obama, and he's like on my list. He's like, he's one of the people I need to meet.
Well, he has a book out. He might do your podcast.
He did. And I've been actively following him. I think, not because he was the president but just because of the person he is. I am so attracted to that type of personality and that type of passion. And I'm so jealous of her right now. So I'll be, one day I'll be able to interview her and him. Hopefully.
I love it. You'll do it.
All right.
Positive attitude.
Have a great day. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Monica. This was so fun. I'll do it anytime.
All righty. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey y'all. Thanks for listening. I hope that you found this episode inspiring and that one way or another you were able to identify with today's story. Remember, like Catherine Stockett said, you is kind, you is smart, you is important. Start believing in yourself and empower those around you, because you never know when suddenly someone can realize they have a choice in what they could believe and do in this world. If you don't follow us yet, please subscribe at our YouTube channel, which is under my name, Monica Duani. You can also follow us on Instagram at TranscendwithM. Or if you just want to chat with me one-on-one, make sure to just connect on LinkedIn and send me a message. It's Monica Duani, and I'm always here for you. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you next week.